In a recent video, I went over the biggest tip that took me from a mid 50% win rate drafter to a 60% win rate drafter. In this video, I'll go over the skill that took me to a mid 60% win rate drafter. The skill that took me to a mid 60% win rate drafter is this: only fight for one color at most. You get 39 picks, but only need to play 23 cards. This gives your seat flexibility to play multiple archetypes, but not any archetype. If you try to gamble on or force a particular color pair, you might fight too many drafters for that color pair and miss playables. This increases variance. On the other hand, if you waffle too much, you won't get a high concentration of powerful cards for a single deck, and this decreases win rate. The optimal strategy is to limit yourself to only fight for one color at most, and let your other color flow to you. We'll go over 3 levels of how to fight for one color at most, and then go over an example draft, Paul Cheon's Arena Open, showing the concept. Only fight for one color at most, level 1. Start by drafting the cards that go into at least 3 decks. Most players know not to draft multicolored cards early. There is an exception, when the multicolored card is splashable, making it open to 7 decks rather than 1. But in play boosters, Wizards has been creating many monocolored secret gold cards. In Bloomburrow, there were a lot of monocolored cards that only went into 1 or 2 decks. Avoid drafting those early. To be concrete, don't draft any card that isn't at least an average win rate, so about 55% or higher on 17 lands, in at least 3 of its archetypes. This will ensure your early picks are playable in your seat's eventual optimal archetype. Only fight for one color at most, level 2. Identify what 2 colors aren't wheeling in pack 1 and avoid those colors. By pack 1 picks 4 to 13, you should be able to identify what 2 colors clearly aren't open to your seat. Eliminate those 2 colors from being included in your base colors. There's 3 reasons why. Reason 1. Pack 1's passing direction is the same direction as Pack 3. Those same colors will be snatched up again in Pack 3. Reason 2. Early in Pack 2, you'll be tempted by lots of good early picks. Committing to avoiding Pack 1's close colors at the start of Pack 2 lets you target the early Pack 2 cards most likely to fit into the good archetypes that will flow your way in Pack 3. And reason 3, fighting a little to ensure you land in one color is easy when you are sure you're going to get fed your other color. You still don't want to fight over the 2 colors that's clearly being cut from your seat in Pack 1, but if you're only fighting with at most one other person for a color amongst the 2 drafters to your right, you'll be okay given you're ensuring you can fill the rest of your deck with a color they aren't drafting. You'll even get all the secret gold color cards for your color pair. And a tip to spot colors that aren't open, it's less about not seeing a quantity of that color and more about not seeing the top 3 commons of that color. Those commons will be in packs passed around, and if you don't see them, it means someone is taking them. Only fight for one color at most, level 3. When power level is close, don't take the card most likely to wheel. Cards likely to wheel include cards you've already seen wheel in other packs, cards that are secret gold cards in your color pair, and cards that were in your pack 1's most open color. The strategy of only fighting for one color at most is most powerful when paired with the other strategy, avoid ending in a bad deck. That video, which I'll link to up above, is our most liked video ever. With that, I'd like to remind you all to please take a minute to hit the like button and subscribe. We've more than 10x'd our subscriber count since the start of Bloomburrow, and we're looking to continue that growth into Duskborn. So please take a moment to help us out with that, and we'll get into our example draft.
Here we go. What did we open? So sadly, this pack is not nearly as good as the first pack that we opened. Nothing completely absurd. There's a Paw Patch Formation and a Driftgloom Coyote. There's a Dowerport Mage, but I really don't want to first pick Dowerport Mage, so I don't think I'm considering that here. So I'm looking here at Driftgloom Coyote, Paw Patch Formation, and then at common you have Warren Elder and Treeguard Duo. And I'm not entirely sure what to take. It's the Coyote here or the Treeguard Duo. And I'm going to just take Treeguard Duo. This is a card that I really like. I love being in green over white in general.
I agree with Paul, it's Coyote or Treeguard Duo, as both go into 4 archetypes. You don't want to start in blue due to the strategy of avoiding ending in a bad deck. That said, I'd go with Coyote here, as it's quite a bit more powerful if you end up in white, but it's close.
And I feel like the Treeguard Duo will be a card that I will be happy to play in any deck that I have. So for that reason, I will take the Duo. I think if I was a little more comfortable maybe drafting blue decks, I could first pick the Dowerport Mage. But like I said before, blue is definitely not a color that I want to be. first pick. It's a color that I'm willing to be after getting past a bunch of blue cards. Here, a rare is missing. The best card in the pack by a wide margin is Vine Reap Mentor. So I'm going to take it here and hope that Squirrels is open. That's kind of my happy lane. And this is, technically speaking, the best uncommon in the set. It's this and Hunter's Talent. So I'm happy enough taking it here. Savor is in the pack along with a cash grab. There's a Carrot Cake if you wanted to do the white thing. If we took the Drift Gloom Coyote, maybe we take that, although maybe we still take the Savor anyways. But I'm going to take the Vine Reap Mentor and hope that black-green Squirrels is still on the menu here for us. But our opponent did first pick a rare.
All right, for pick 2, Paul likes to force a bit more than I think is right. Admittedly, this is one of the most powerful uncommons in the set, which is what persuades him to gamble, but he's right, he really is gambling on black-green Squirrels being open, and it'll only be open less than 30% of the time. I'd pick Savor as it's more open.
We have no idea what that rare is, and we are just going to draft accordingly here. Moving into pack number 3, yeah, so this pack is also not fantastic. We have a couple of options, okay? And the cards that really stand out to me are Star Charter. I only really like in black-white is Long River Lurker. If I wanted to be blue-green, I could take that. That would have gone really, really well with the Dowerport Mage. Or I can take Corpseberry Cultivator, which goes really well after the Vine Reap Mentor. Now, I know blue-green tends to be a little bit more open, and a third pick Lurker might be a sign, but I don't necessarily want to give up on the Vine Reap Mentor pick, second pick either. So I do think I will take the Corpseberry Cultivator here over the Long River Lurker.
Notice that Paul acknowledges that both uncommon options are secret gold cards only good in one deck, and so he passes on them. In Paul's draft, I agree with Corpseberry Cultivator and keeping the green-black dream alive, given he's so invested at this point, but he is gambling. In my version of the draft, I'd take Nettle Guard as a 2-drop for any white deck.
But if we do see a bunch of blue-green stuff, certainly that's a direction that we can choose to go. And now we're looking at a pack that has basically no green and black cards. There's a Thornplate Intimidator in the pack and a Crumb and Get It as the best combat trick in the pack. I'm not a big fan of these artifacts, so for me, it's really the choice between Crumb and Get It and the Thornplate Intimidator. There's also Druid of the Spade, which can be okay, but like if I want it to be green-white, maybe. But I will take Thornplate Intimidator here.
I'm taking Crumb and Get It as a good playable for any white deck.
Here. Okay, well, it seems to me that white feels more open now. I am not seeing a whole lot of green, so I feel like this is a turning point for us where we need to make an adjustment here to try to kind of get out of the hole that we're in. And here I have the choice between Life Creed Duo and Moonrise Cleric. I do like Moonrise Cleric, but I'm going to opt to take the 2-drop here in case, and I just feel like 2-drops are more important. They're both very good with what the color combination is trying to do. So I will take that here, and maybe there's a weird world where we can pivot into black-white.
Paul notices green isn't open. Both Life Creed Duo and Moonrise Cleric I'm only looking to play in white-black, so I'm taking Strike Force as a card I'll play in any white deck.
It's a very, very late pivot, but just recognizing what I see from these packs, I just don't think green is available here. So I'm going to take another Life Creed Duo and see if black-white is where we need to be. Black by itself might not be super open, but I feel like the black-white color combination is open, so I will take Life Creed Duo number.
Paul starts to notice black isn't open. I'm now thinking I can be white-red, white-blue, or blue-red, and since I'm avoiding white-blue and blue-red as weak decks, I'm leaning into white-red, and I'd take Pleated Provisioner as a good top end for that archetype. Paul decides to fight for black.
2, and see if we could lean really heavily into the black-white life gain deck and try to find some of the payoff cards. So I'm just going to keep taking these Life Creed Duos here. They work very, very well as long as we make sure we get the payoff cards to go with it. That's a fairly late Teapot Slinger, but we didn't see a whole lot of other red cards to go with that. Not seeing a lot of black, so like I said, black is being drafted, but hopefully we can get the black-white card specifically. There's a Treetop Sentries if we want it to be green, but I'm going to just keep taking.
The Teapot Slinger remaining solidifies me into red. From now on, I'm just going to state the card I'd take for my white-red deck.
Taking these duos because I feel like this is maybe where we need to be. But again, I need to pick up the cards to go with this, right? Here we have A pretty weak pack. I don't really want to take these blue cards, although this is a bird. Maybe there's a world where we can take the Dazzling Denial, but maybe we're going to be short on playables. Like, is there a world where we go blue-white? I'm going to take this because I think it has the most upside of what we have here so far.
I don't blame Paul for shifting into the most open color, blue. My concern is he's conceding himself to end in a bad deck. It's a tough seat. I would have chosen Cindering Cutthroat as red-white filler.
If we end up in blue-white, it's not a color combination that I'm looking forward to being, but if that's where we need to be, that's where we need to be, and the Plume Creed Mentor tabled. So this is not a good color combination. I'm full stop. There's a Stargaze, though. I'm not seeing a lot of black. It feels like blue-white might be where we need to be. We're going to lose out on 4 picks here as a result, but hopefully this...
I'd take Alania's Pathmaker as a decent red card for my archetype.
Gives us a playable combination of cards, and I'm really hoping that this gets it done. Now I'm going to take Runaway Together, I think, over Thought Chucker.
I'd take the red brew card.
I don't think either are particularly good. And now I'll take Seed Pod Squire. I really don't like this combination, but
I'd take Might of the Meek.
the Plume Creed Mentor tabled, and this just felt like it was supposed to be our lane.
I'd take the Conduct Electricity.
So I'm going to take this here, but not be super happy about it. I'm taking the Bark Form Harvester just because I'm a little bit concerned I'm not going to have enough playables.
Now let's take a step back and review what happened in Pack 1. By taking cards that only fit in a single archetype, green-black or white-black, and having both green and black closed, he's going to have a hard time making playables. Avoid this by taking open cards early. With my version of the draft, I would have plenty of playables for red-white. Red was clearly open. I'm probably fighting one of the 2 other players to my right over white, but that's fine given all my white cards will play in white-red.
And if I'm not going to have enough playables, then I just need to play this. Yeah, I mean, this is not a start that I'm loving by any means. But like I said, I saw no black cards, really. And really almost no green cards either. Now, we opened a Tender Wildglade, right? You see this card and you're like, okay, well, maybe you're just supposed to stay the course. I just don't think that I should. I feel like I need to just try to draft some semblance of a reasonable blue-white deck here and go about our day. And I'm taking a really, really weak first pick here. I'm going to take Nettleguard. It's good with Seed Pod Squire. It's a 2-drop.
I'd take the Seaglaive Mentor as a higher upside card that fits right into my open colors.
And one note is that Life Creed Duo isn't particularly strong without the black-white life gain synergy, so this is also kind of worse. Here we have, I guess I'm just going to keep taking all the birds. I'm going to take Shrike Force here. There's an Emberheart Challenge. There's a Harvest Right Host, but I have no rabbits. So I guess I just take Shrike Force here. There's a Waxwing Witness, but these are pretty free. So
I'd take the Emberheart Challenger.
I feel like I'm going to be able to get those fairly late. And they do work pretty well with the Life Creed Duos that we have. There's an Azure Beastbinder. This card is great. 2 mana for a 1/3 Vigilance card. It's very hard to block. And it just shuts creatures down. There's that or Splash Lasher. But I'm going to take the Azure Beastbinder. I think
I'd take the second Seaglaive Mentor.
this card is fantastic. I do think Splash Lasher is also very good. But here we are. Man, all these mythics are terrible. And now we have this combination. I don't like Moonrise Cleric in a deck that's not white-black just because I think it's too hard to cast. So for me, I think I'm just going to take Sugarcoat as a removal spell. I think Finch Formation is something that you can just get for free later on. So I'd much rather just have a removal
I'd take the Sazakap's Brew.
spell, and that's kind of the first removal spell we have available in our blue-white deck. Now we have the choice between Jolly Gerbils and Shore Up. This is mostly just a 2-mana 2/3. I don't really have any ways to give gifts just yet. But it is another just solid 2-mana card.
I'd also take Jolly Gerbils, but I'd have the Crumb and Giddits to help draw cards.
So I'm going to take it here. Really just need to get some of these good blue cards, but not seeing it. Happy enough with Worn Elder. Never disappointed about this.
I'd also take the Worn Elder.
We do have a really, really nice curve here with just a bunch of 2s. You know, I really thought I was going to get more 5s, though. Or, sorry, more blue cards, but I'm not. I don't really like Into the Floodmaw. I don't think I need Life Creed Duo number 4. So it's between Mind Spiral and Sky Skipper Duo. Do I have anything to do with this? I have a Plume Creed Mentor. I guess I'll just take it here just because I'm not a big fan of Mind Spiral. And I don't really want Life Creed Duo number 4.
I'd take the Agate Assault.
4. If I can find some other way to, it's good with Plume Creed Mentor. If I can find some other ETB effects, that would be good. Really, really wish I took that Drift Gloom Coyote first pick now. Here, I'll take Crumb and Get It.
I'd also take Crumb and Get It.
Very solid combat trick. Very, very nice combination with Jolly Gerbils. And hey, this is a playable combination of cards, but not especially strong. I do expect to table the Seed Pod Squire, which I do think should be okay. Although we'll note that we have mostly flyers here, so it's not even that insane. It's good with the Nettle Guard, good with the Azure Beastbinder, so not something that I'm prioritizing super highly here. Definitely need some more interaction. Definitely need to get all the good multicolor cards, but we're just not seeing any.
I'd take the 3-tree mascot as 2-drop filler.
Right? Like the way that this blue-white deck works is I need to get all the Signpost blue-white cards. And this is just a weak Signpost blue-white card. I need Plume Creed Mentors. I just need like 3 of these in the last pack to really feel like I'm going to have a chance here. But just taking a look at our seed, I just felt like this is where we were supposed to be.
I'd take the Waxwayne Witness, but not really plan to play it.
Waxwayne Witness is fine. It's a decent flyer. We do have triple Life Creed Duo. I will take a Pileated
I'd also take Pleated
Provisioner here, something that you can blink. But these are all filler level cards. But then again, blue-white is a filler level combination. Now we take Hoarders. I do not like where we are right now. I'm just full stop. I am not very, very happy with this combination of cards. What does Valley Flood Color do? You may cast non-creature spells. I don't have 4 non-creature spells, so I don't think I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the Drift Gloom Coyote just as a removal effect. I think this is probably one of the better cards I can have. Hopefully we table the Dire Downfall or Dire Downdraft, but
I'd also take Drift Gloom Coyote.
happy with the Drift Gloom Coyote there. And now we see all these green cards. What is this? Paw Patch Recruit and Thornvault Forager, and somehow there's a pack with Paw Patch Recruit and Thornvault Forager here. I guess I take Feather of Flight. There's really nothing else for us.
Yes, there's green cards, but it is just pick 2 on what is a loaded pack. The person 2 to your right is almost certainly drafting green. I'd pick Feather of Flight and be happy with it.
Just give absolutely everything flying. I will slam Splash Lasher. I do think this card's fantastic. There's a Nocturnal Hunger and a Sonar Strike as well. But
I'd take the second Emberheart Challenger.
Splash Lasher is great. Just going to try to figure out what I want to cut here. Something like that. And what do we have here? There's a Cash Grab if we want it to be black-green. There's a Harvest Right Host, but we have, like, no rabbits. Just no rabbits at all. But what else do we take? I think I'm just going to take it anyways over the Moonrise Cleric.
I'd take the Short Bow.
You do need to have some non-flyers. It's still a 3-mana 3/3, and if I can figure out if I can get a card that makes multiple rabbits, like Head of the Homestead, although it's Head of the Homestead or Feather of Flight. I think it's just Feather of Flight.
I'd also take the Feather of Flight.
I just feel like my game plan here is pretty simple. Kill them with flyers. I will take the interactive spell here into Dire Downdraft.
Here you have 2 good red options. Not surprised you're getting hooked up with red pack 3 like you were in pack 1. I'd check my mana curve and go Brambleguard Captain unless I needed more 2-drops.
Our spells are okay. Our spells are okay. These are the cards that we're not playing on the right side. We have an okay mana curve. We have some ways to lock things down with the Splash Lasher and the Drift Gloom Coyote. And here, I don't really need another Finch Formation or a Runaway Together. I'll take Uncharted Haven.
I'd take the Agate Assault.
Just to make my mana better. And that is another Harvest Right Host that I'll play in my deck. Although, like I said, I don't have a ton of rabbits.
I'd take the Hidden Grotto for the Scry.
I wonder if I'm supposed to play this, the Life Creed Duo Waxwayne Witness thing. There's another Waxwayne Witness, or a Light Shell Duo. I think I just take another Waxwayne
I'd take the Steam Path Charger to bump up my 2-drops.
Witness. Skyscraper Duo doesn't seem particularly strong. 5 mana 3/3 flyer is just a pretty bad rate. I'd rather have the 3/4 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 targets for the Provisioner. There's a Waterspout Warden. I guess I'll take the Counterspell. I can see a world where I board this in.
I'd take the Veteran Mouse Guard.
I don't think I want to main deck it, though. This was a rough draft. I mean, this was just a super rough draft. I think this deck is okay, but I don't think that this has what it takes to get 4. The good colors were heavily contested. After a reasonable start, I just felt like we needed to make the swap. Maybe not. Maybe I'm still supposed to just fight everybody. But this is what we have. This is what we have. It's a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. And we need to make the most of what we have available here.
Paul is an excellent drafter and isn't happy with his deck. My goal with this video was to show you a route to help avoid this from happening. In summary, Paul correctly identified mid-pack 1 that green and black were not open and were not playable. You should start identifying the colors you are not at the end of pack 1 if you aren't doing so already. Paul incorrectly picked early cards that only went into one archetype, making him at risk of not making playables. Paul incorrectly went into a bad deck, white-blue. And again, now that this video is over, it makes sense to give the video on that tip a watch with the clickable thumbnail up above. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for upcoming Duskmourn spoilers. See you next week!